This is All India Radio. I'm Anubha Rohatgi, and with me is Saira Mujtaba with the Midday News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi launches Jan Andolan campaign on COVID-19 appropriate behavior, appeals to countrymen to unite against corona. COVID-19 recovery rate reaches 85.25% in the country. Prime Minister to deliver keynote address at Invest India conference in Canada through video conferencing this evening. In Bihar, filing of nominations for the first phase of state assembly elections closes today. Indian Air Force is celebrating its 88th anniversary today. President, Vice President and the Prime Minister greet Air Force personnel. And in IPL cricket, Sunrisers Hyderabad to take on Kings 11 Punjab in Dubai. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a note of precaution to stay safe and stay protected by following these three simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, and focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today launched a campaign by way of a tweet on Jan Andolan for COVID-19 appropriate behavior in view of the upcoming festivals and winter season as well as the opening up of the economy. In a tweet, Mr. Modi appealed to people to unite to fight corona. He urged the people to always remember to wear a mask, wash hands, follow social distancing and practice 2 gaz ki duri. He said, "Together we will succeed and win against COVID-19. The Prime Minister said India's COVID-19 fight is people-driven and gets great strength from our COVID warriors. He said, "Our collective efforts have helped save many lives." Mr. Modi said, "We have to continue the momentum and protect our citizens from the virus." The Prime Minister Narendra Modi in his last Mann Ki Baat program had reminded people to always wear a mask and not to venture out without a face shield.
कोरोना के इस कालखंड में मैं फिर एक बार आपको याद कराऊंगा, मास्क अवश्य रखें, फेस कवर के बिना बाहर न जाएं, 2 गज की दूरी का नियम आपको भी बचा सकता है, आपके परिवार को भी बचा सकता है। ये कुछ नियम है, इस कोरोना के खिलाफ लड़ाई के हथियार है, हर नागरिक के जीवन को बचाने के मजबूत साधन है और हम न भूलें, जब तक दवाई नहीं तब तक ढिलाई नहीं।
A concerted action plan will also be implemented by central government ministries and departments and state governments and union territories, with region-specific targeted communication in high caseload districts. Proper dissemination of cautionary measures on all media platforms throughout the country will be put out. Informing about the campaign, Minister for Information and Broadcasting Prakash Javadekar said special focus will be laid on simple and easily understandable message so that it can reach every citizen.
जब दवा नहीं है और जब वैक्सीन नहीं है तो एक ही सुरक्षा कवच है। सुरक्षा कवच की एक त्रिसूत्री है, मास्क, सुरक्षित दूरी और बराबर हाथ धोना। ये 3 सूत्रों पर हर कोई अपना स्वास्थ्य को ठीक रख सकता है और यही त्रिसूत्री बचाव के बारे में एक जन आंदोलन शुरू होगा। लोगों के संपर्क के सभी ठिकानों पर बैनर, पोस्टर, स्टिकर्स लगेंगे। जहां भी लोग काम के लिए जाते हैं, ऐसे सभी जगह ये एक जन चेतना की मुहिम चलेगी। सोशल मीडिया में भी कैंपेन चलेगी। पूरी देश की सभी संस्था, समाज के मान्यवर लोग और बाकी भी सामान्य जनता इसमें शामिल होगी।
Actor Amitabh Bachchan has also appealed to people to follow the government guidelines to fight COVID-19.
नमस्कार। हमारा देश और पूरा विश्व आज कोविड-19 की चुनौती का सामना कर रहा है। कोविड-19 अभी खत्म नहीं हुआ है। ऐसे में हमारा फर्ज है कि हम सतर्क रहें। इसलिए जब तक दवाई नहीं तब तक कोई ढिलाई नहीं। कोरोना से बचाव के लिए जरूरी है नियमित रूप से हाथ धोना, मास्क पहनना और आपस में उचित दूरी बनाए रखना। याद रखिए, 2 गज दूरी, मास्क है जरूरी। खांसी, बुखार या सांस लेने में कठिनाई होने पर हेल्पलाइन नंबर 1075 पर संपर्क करें।
President Ramnath Kovind has urged fellow citizens to unite in the fight against COVID-19. He appealed to wear a mask, wash hands and practice social distancing. Mr. Kovind said the nation stands united to defeat COVID-19 through collective determination and discipline. He added that together we will fight and we will win. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will deliver the keynote address at the Invest India conference in Canada through video conferencing this evening. The forum aims to give Canadian business community a first-hand perspective of the opportunities to invest in India and showcase India as an investment destination. The conference is expected to witness participation of representatives from banks and insurance companies, investment funds, companies in sectors like aviation, electronics and manufacturing, consultant firms and universities. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today met with the chairman of the High Council of National Reconciliation of Afghanistan, Dr. Abdullah Abdullah. Mr. Modi reaffirmed long-term commitment to further deepening of India-Afghan ties.
In Bihar, filing of nominations for the first phase of state assembly elections will close today. With only a few hours left for closing of nominations, political activities have intensified. A large number of candidates, including contestants of major political parties and their supporters, have gathered at the offices of their respective returning officers or RO in 71 assembly constituencies. The scrutiny of nominations will take place tomorrow and the last date of withdrawal of candidature is 12th of this month. Polling will be held on 28th of October. More from our correspondent.
Senior BJP leader and Agriculture Minister Prem Kumar, State Ministers Jai Kumar Singh, Ram Narayan Mandal and former Chief Minister Jitan Ram Manjhi are among prominent candidates who have filed their nominations for the first phase. In the first phase, several sitting MLAs, former MLAs have been denied tickets due to the new political equations and seat-sharing deal. Due to this, large number of rival candidates have joined other parties or filing their nominations independently. Dissident leaders like Rameswar Chaurasia, Sunil Pandey, Usha Vidyarthi, Sri Bhagwan Singh Kushwaha and some others have filed their nomination against their authorized party candidates. In another political development, JDU has decided to field the son of late MP Baidyanath Mahato in Valmiki Nagar Lok Sabha by-polls. Sunil Kumar will be the candidate of the party. Dharmendra Kumar Rai, AIR News, Patna.
With a view to ensuring the conduct of free, fair, peaceful, transparent, ethical and safe elections during COVID-19, the Election Commission has revised the norms concerning star campaigners for all ongoing and future elections during the period of the COVID-19 pandemic. In the revised norms, the Commission said the maximum limit on the number of star campaigners for recognized national and state political parties will be 30 instead of 40, and for unrecognized registered political parties, it will be 15 instead of 20. It said the period of submission of the list of star campaigners is extended from 7 days to 10 days.
Air Chief Marshal R.K.S. Bhadoria today said that the Indian Air Force IAF has demonstrated its resolve, operational capability and the will to effectively engage with the adversary when the need arises. Speaking on the occasion of Air Force Day, Mr. Bhadoria said the Indian Air Force deployed its combat assets at short notice to handle any eventuality and provided proactive support to all the requirements of deployment and sustenance for the Indian Army. Referring to the recent standoff on the northern frontier, he commended air warriors for their quick response. On the preparedness of the Indian Air Force, he said the emerging security scenario mandates a greater need to have a strong IAF to fight across domains across the entire spectrum of the warfare. He said the IAF is shifting towards indigenous equipments to become self-reliant in aerospace sector and the growth of engine for development of indigenous aerospace technology. He said the IAF is fully committed to build fifth-generation aircraft.
The evolving threat matrix in our region is becoming complex, ranging from aspirational adversaries with huge investment in military arsenal to those collusively supported by non-state actors, apart from growing subconventional threats emanating from terrorism and cyberspace. Disruptive technologies and easy access to low-cost options like drones are increasingly demanding greater attention to the subconventional domain. The recent induction of state-of-the-art Rafale, Chinook and Apache aircraft have added significantly to our combat capability over our adversaries in the battlefield.
On the COVID-19 pandemic situation, the Air Chief Marshal said tenacity and resolve of our air warriors ensured that the IAF continues to retain its capability and capacity to undertake full-scale operation. He said Indian Air Force deployed transport helicopters to bring back stranded Indians and supplied essential goods. The Indian Air Force is celebrating its 88th anniversary today. The IAF was founded on October 8, 1932. A scintillating air display by various aircraft was the hallmark of the Air Force Day Parade cum investiture ceremony at the Air Force Station Hindan, Ghaziabad. The air display commenced with flag-bearing skydivers of the famous Akashganga team dropping out of an AN-32 aircraft in their colorful canopies. The flypast included vintage aircraft, modern transport aircraft and frontline fighter aircraft. The ceremony concluded with a spellbinding aerobatic display. The President, Vice President, the Prime Minister and the Defence Minister have greeted all Air Force personnel on the occasion. Civil Aviation Minister Hardeep Singh Puri has said that Lifeline Udan has played important role in supplying essential goods across the country during the COVID-19 pandemic. Addressing media in New Delhi today, Mr. Puri said,
So Vande Bharat is actually a bridging arrangement between a situation of complete lockdown and no activity and complete opening up of civil aviation.
He further said that around 2,000 tons of medical equipment and other medical supplies have been imported from foreign countries and more than 30 tons have been supplied to other countries by India. He said total 940 tons of cargo have been supplied across the country through Lifeline Udan. Appreciating the efforts made by the Prime Minister to bring back stranded Indians during the COVID-19 pandemic, he said the Vande Bharat Abhiyan played an instrumental role in bringing back the citizens. He said more than 20 lakh people have benefited from the Vande Bharat Abhiyan since 6th of May this year. On the preparedness for COVID-19 pandemic, he said India is the pharmacy of the world and the country has become the major supplier of medical goods to other countries.
The Ministry of Railways announced that the Railway Board has given approval to zones for 39 new trains. These services will be introduced as special services from an early convenient date. According to the list, most of the trains belong to the category of AC Express, Duronto, Rajdhani and Shatabdi. Central Railways will also run 5 pairs of special trains in Maharashtra from tomorrow. 2 of these 5 special trains will be operated between Mumbai's Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Terminus and Pune. 1 each will run from Mumbai to Nagpur, Gondia and Sholapur routes. The CSMT Nagpur will be Duronto special train while others will be super fast specials. The Mumbai-Pune trains will halt at regular stops of Deccan Queen and Indrayani Express, while the Gondia, Sholapur and Nagpur trains will halt at the designated stops of Vidarbha Express, Siddheshwar Express and Duronto Express. The reservation for the trains will commence from today. Only passengers with confirmed tickets will be permitted to board these special trains. Railway services across the historic Pamban Bridge connecting Pamban Island with Rameshwaram on mainland Tamil Nadu have been suspended till further notice. The Madurai Railway Division has informed that rail traffic on the 2-kilometer-long bridge has been suspended for conducting maintenance work. Work on a new bridge at Pamban was inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in 2018. The Pamban Bridge is a major tourist attraction in the area because the whole train is accommodated on the bridge in the middle of the sea at one point of time while crossing it.
In Madhya Pradesh, the Wildlife Week celebration, which began on the 1st of October, concluded yesterday. Several programs like painting, photography, rangoli were organized for children during the week to develop a deep interest in wildlife and related issues. A report.
In the program organized in Bhopal on the occasion of Wildlife Week, Forest Minister Kumar Vijay Shah said that every citizen needs to play an active role towards the protection and conservation of animals. He said that the topic of conservation of wildlife should be made mandatory in academic courses. On the occasion, prizes were given to the winning students of paintings focusing on wildlife photography, rangoli, henna, palm paintings, creative competition and face painting competitions. Paritosh Dikshit, Akashvani Samachar, Bhopal.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi launches Jan Andolan campaign on COVID-19 appropriate behavior. Appeals to countrymen to unite against Corona. COVID-19 recovery rate reaches 85.25% in the country. Prime Minister to deliver keynote address at Invest India Conference in Canada through video conferencing this evening. In Bihar, filing of nominations for the first phase of State Assembly elections closes today. Indian Air Force is celebrating its 88th anniversary today. President, Vice President and Prime Minister greet Air Force personnel. And in IPL cricket, Sunrisers Hyderabad to take on Kings 11 Punjab in Dubai. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
3 steps to stay protected and stay safe from COVID-19. Wear face mask, 2 gaz ki duri to maintain social distancing, maintain hand and face hygiene.
All India Radio presents Northeast Diary, glimpses of the news of the week from the northeastern states.
All about the region, a gateway to Southeast Asia, the developments and the destinations to look forward to.
News from the art, cultural and entertainment world of the northeastern states of India. All this and more.
Every Thursday, 5:30 to 6 p.m. in the evening on 100.1 All India Radio FM News Channel.
The government today said that the country's recovery rate among the COVID-19 patients has reached 85.25%. During the last 24 hours, 83,011 COVID patients have been recovered. The Health Ministry said the total number of recoveries has reached 58,27,704. The ministry said the constantly increasing recoveries have ensured that the actual caseload of the country has reduced and currently comprises only 13.2% of the total positive cases. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is 9,02,425. The ministry said effective implementation of centre's strategic and graded test, track, treat approach has led to higher recoveries and lower fatality. Currently, India's case fatality rate is at 1.54%. The total number of positive cases has now reached 68,35,655. In the last 24 hours, 971 deaths have been reported, taking the toll to 1,05,526. According to ICMR, during the last 24 hours, more than 11,94,000 tests have been conducted. Total samples tested so far have reached over 8 crore 34 lakhs. A total of 2,871 fresh cases of COVID-19 were recorded in Delhi yesterday, taking the infection tally in the city to over 2,98,000. The Delhi government has said that over 2,70,000 people affected with coronavirus have been cured so far. In the last 24 hours, 3,370 people recovered and 35 deaths were reported in the national capital, taking the toll to 5,616. Presently, the total number of active cases in Delhi is 22,186. Wary of the health-related problems noticed in people who have recuperated from COVID-19, Maharashtra's Medical Education Department has developed an app named COVID Kavach to guide patients. The app helps an individual in problem-solving of their health with the guidance of experts from the medical field. More from our Mumbai correspondent.
The COVID Kavach app has been developed to provide relief to such people. Concerned individuals can submit their problems on this app. After that, experts from government medical colleges in the state give advice through SMS to help the person overcome his difficulty. In each hospital, an expert will also be deployed to guide such patients. Medical Education Minister Midday said that this app needs to be used more and more to keep track of COVID patients, diagnose them and treat them in time. He has appealed all the deans and doctors of the Medical Education Department to take initiative for this. Madhuri Pange, AIR News, Mumbai.
More than 150 million people may fall into extreme poverty throughout the world by 2021 as a result of the economic contraction caused by the novel coronavirus pandemic, the World Bank in a report said today. The report said the COVID-19 pandemic is estimated to push an additional 88 million to 115 million people into extreme poverty this year, with the total rising to as many as 150 million by 2021, depending on the severity of the economic contraction. The World Bank pointed out in the report that about 82% of the so-called new poor will be in the middle-income countries that already have high poverty rates. Bangladesh will accept only the WHO-recognized COVID-19 vaccines for use in the country. Briefing the media after the cabinet meeting yesterday, Cabinet Secretary Khandekar Anwarul Islam said that the government has been in touch with all the countries and organizations trying to develop the vaccine. He expressed hope that Bangladesh will get the COVID-19 vaccine on priority basis, for which the government has set aside 600 crore takas. He said Bangladesh is also eligible for receiving vaccines under the Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunizations or GAVI, whose meeting was addressed by Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina in June. The Cabinet Secretary said that pharmaceutical companies from Bangladesh are in negotiation with vaccine producers for commercial production of the vaccine. Meanwhile, Education Minister Deepu Moni announced on Wednesday that Higher Secondary Certificate or HSC and equivalent exams will not be held this year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. She said the HSC results will be determined on the basis of average results of earlier exams like JSC and SSC. Earlier, Bangladesh extended the closure of educational institutions till 31st of October.
U.S. Democratic Vice President nominee Kamala Harris described the Trump administration's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic as the greatest failure of any presidential administration in the history of the United States, as she opened the only vice presidential debate with a sharp attack on Vice President Mike Pence, who leads the president's coronavirus task force. The California senator said Americans have sacrificed too much due to the incompetence of this administration, referring to the COVID-19 pandemic that has claimed over 200,000 American lives and battered the country's economy. President Donald Trump, who tested positive for COVID-19, is facing criticism over his handling of the health crisis and downplaying the threat from the deadly virus. Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden has accused Trump of hiding the facts from American people. The Bangalore-based Indian Institute of Science has developed a non-invasive bandage made with magnetic nanofibers to treat cancer. Researchers at the Center for Biosystems, Science and Engineering and the Department of Molecular Reproduction, Development and Genetics at the Indian Institute of Science have developed the bandage with a unique blend of magnetic nanoparticles fabricated using a method called electrospinning. More from our correspondent.
The Indian Institute of Science conducted 2 experiments using the magnetic bandage, which has proved that its application has killed the cancer cells successfully. It was found out that the healthy tissue remained intact with no signs of burns, inflammation or thickening. Shilpi Jain, who is a faculty in the institute and senior author of the experiment-based paper, has said that the study has shown that the nanofibrous magnetic bandage developed by them is a novel treatment effective against skin cancer. However, the researchers have said that the experiment conducted in the lab is still at a nascent stage of development as a clinical therapy, and further studies are required to test its efficacy on a larger scale before employing it for preclinical and clinical applications. Sudhindra, AIR News, Bengaluru.
On the path to self-sufficiency in medical oxygen production, Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath today inaugurated Inox oxygen plant at Modi Nagar in Ghaziabad through video conferencing. A report.
Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath said that for better treatment of COVID-19, it was necessary to have an oxygen backup of 72 hours, and this plant will help in our efforts. This plant has a capacity to store 1,000 tons of oxygen, which is highest in the region. He said that now people from not just Uttar Pradesh, but from all states of North India will not have to worry for liquid oxygen. Yogi Adityanath said that this plant is also a sign of his government's commitment to bring investment in state. The MOU for this plant was signed in 2018 in presence of Prime Minister Narendra Modi during Investor Summit in Lucknow. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
The Gujarat government has ordered 25% reduction in school tuition fees for the current academic year. According to a notification issued by the State Education Department, the fee reduction will be applicable for all self-financed schools under the Gujarat Secondary and Higher Secondary Education Board, CBSE, and other boards in the state. More from our Ahmedabad correspondent.
According to the notification, the schools will not be permitted to collect any other fees, including transport fees and other activities fees during the current academic year. The parents have been requested to pay the fees for the last academic year and 50% fees of the first half by the end of October. The government has asked the management of self-finance school to give relief to the parents who are not in a position to pay the fees. The government has asked the school management not to pressurize the parents to pay the fees together and facilitate them for monthly installments. It was also said that management cannot impose any fine or penalty for late payment of fees. If the parents have paid the fees for the entire year, the 25% rebate will have to be adjusted in the next academic session. Yogesh Pandya, AIR News, Ahmedabad.
The Rural Gender Champions Club of Tamil Nadu Central University, Tiruvarur, has selected 15 women from remote hamlets in the Kaveri Delta region as rural gender champions. In a novel initiative, these women will spearhead the campaign in various villages against gender insensitivity and related programs. These champions will also work as change leaders to spread the information about usage of masks, maintaining social distance, importance of ensuring face and hand hygiene. The Gender Champions Club is an initiative of the Union Education Ministry which stresses on educational awareness programs to eradicate the evil of gender inequalities in rural areas. In Indian Premier League cricket in today's encounter, Sunrisers Hyderabad will face Kings 11 Punjab at Dubai International Stadium, Dubai. Earlier, Kolkata Knight Riders bowlers produced an incredible performance to carry their side to a 10-run win over Chennai Super Kings in the 21st match of the 13th edition at Sheikh Zayed Stadium in Abu Dhabi last night. Chennai Super Kings needed 168 runs to win, but they fell 11 runs short of the target to some fine bowling performance by the KKR bowlers. In the French Open tennis, two-time Wimbledon champion Petra Kvitova beat 66th-ranked Laura Sigmund 6-3, 6-3 in the women's quarterfinals to enter semifinals to face Sofia Kenin. In another match, unseeded Iga Swiatek defeated Martina Trevisan 6-3, 6-1 to reserve a berth in the semifinals. She will clash with Nadia Podoroska in the semifinal clash. In men's singles, clay court master Rafael Nadal reserved his semi-final berth for an encounter against Diego Schwartzman of Argentina. In the other semi-final, top seed Novak Djokovic meets fifth-seeded Stefanos Tsitsipas.
The News Services Division of All India Radio, in its bilingual live phone-in program today, will bring you a special discussion on COVID-19. Dr. Geeta Company, Senior Physician, Safdarjung Hospital, will participate in the discussion. Listeners can ask questions to the experts on toll-free telephone number 1-800-115767. You can also ask questions on telephone number 011-2331-4444 and post queries on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts by hashtag AskAIR. In a sharp downward revision of its own estimates, the World Bank says that the Bangladesh economy is estimated to have grown at 2% in the financial year 2019-20. The forecast reflects a sharp downward revision of 5.2% from the forecast made in October 2019. According to the latest South Asia Economic Focus of the World Bank released on Thursday, the real GDP of Bangladesh at constant prices is forecast to grow at 1.6% in the year 2020-21, before rebounding to 3.4% for the year 2021-22.
And now let us take a look at the weather update for the day. The national capital Delhi will have mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature was recorded at 19 degrees Celsius and maximum is expected to be around 36 degrees. In Mumbai, the sky will be partly cloudy. The minimum temperature was 27 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 34 degrees. Chennai will have partly cloudy sky. The temperature is likely to hover between 28 and 37 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will witness generally cloudy sky with one or two spells of rain or thunder showers. The minimum temperature in the metropolis was 26 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be around 32 degrees. On to the north, in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the minimum temperature was 19 degrees Celsius in Jammu, while the maximum will be around 34 degrees. The city is likely to have mainly clear sky. In Srinagar, the minimum temperature was around 5 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 27 degrees. The city will have mainly clear sky. Leh in Ladakh will have mainly clear sky. The temperature is likely to hover between -2 and 21 degrees Celsius. In Gilgit, the temperature is likely to hover between 7 and 29 degrees Celsius. It will have partly cloudy sky. In Muzaffarabad, there will be mainly clear sky. The temperature is likely to hover between 12 and 32 degrees Celsius. In Dehradun, the temperature will hover between 18 and 33 degrees Celsius. The city will have mainly clear sky. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi launches Jan Andolan campaign on COVID-19 appropriate behavior, appeals to countrymen to unite against corona. COVID-19 recovery rate reaches 85.25% in the country. Prime Minister to deliver keynote address at Invest India Conference in Canada through video conferencing this evening. In Bihar, filing of nominations for the first phase of State Assembly election closes today. Indian Air Force is celebrating its 88th anniversary today. President, Vice President and Prime Minister greet Air Force personnel. And in IPL cricket, Sunrisers Hyderabad to take on Kings 11 Punjab in Dubai. And with that, we end the Midday News.